got the rest of your life to be a doctor. I have now. So if you want to be with me...
I have to make another sacrifice.
Oh, girl, don't you say that word.
Derwin, I didn't ask you to put me on the accounts when I decided to move here to be with you. And I don't need to do it now. I know you and Drew slept together. Well, I know we broke up because he slept with Drew Sidora. But then I took him back because he's just so cute. I have class in 3 hours. Malik has been here every single night this week. He has to go. Look, you didn't ask me if he can come over every single night this week.
Oh, I didn't realize I needed permission to have someone come over my own house.
Oh, you mean our own house, right? Derwin, I'm sorry, but this isn't happening.
Melanie, I think it is. Malik, let's play.
Melanie?
Excuse me.
Do you want me? Should I move out? Huh?
Do what you gotta do, Mel. You think about you, and I'll think about me. And to be honest, I'm seriously thinking about the trade. Would you like me to put your name on the account? I am done with you. Mel, I'm so done with you, I'm on my way to Drew's. Mel, this is the first time I get to see the baby.
Yeah, well, tell the baby I said hi. Tired of having to hold my tongue and walk on eggshells about Janae and this baby, when all I really want to is...
So I'm not gonna let you or anyone else get in the way of me taking care of my kid.
Your kid is more important than me.
Yes, he is, damn it.
Oh, it's funny, I lost my grant because I'm on academic probation.
Shut up and marry me.
Oh my God.
It's gotta be bigger than damn poppy seed, right?
Wait, he didn't get you a poppy seed ring, did he?
I guess he did.
But then he got another woman pregnant, so I took Derwin back. But then we broke up again while I was dating this doctor. And now, Derwin and I, we want to get married.
It's Janae, she's in labor. I love you, Melanie. DJ. Don't you?
Derwin, I've been too scared to tell you the truth that the test was wrong. DJ is your son. He's your son. It's okay. It's okay. I can fix it. I can fix it.
I don't want to hear another word about Janae or DJ. You understand me? You don't bring the names
I
up to
was rooting for Melanie and Derwin during its original airing, but it's important to note I was in my late teens during its original airing. As I rewatch as a woman in my late 30s, it is a completely different show. I actually love the characters even more, and I empathize with Melanie in a way that I don't root for what she wants, but I root for her to win. And I really love that she's portrayed by Tia Mowry. That's her best redeemable quality. She makes the character lovable and even likable, because I have to be honest, season 1, if anyone else had portrayed Melanie, we likely would have hated her.
This is really dysfunctional. That's just it. I don't need Sunbeam validation. Remember all that Sunbeam drama I was telling you about? Well, here comes the queen bee and the bougie bee. I'm sorry. Did we not have an uncomfortable, bordering on hostile moment yesterday?
Oh, that's behind us now. Yeah, girl, I'm so glad I didn't slap you. That would have been hard to come back from. We didn't see you in the skybox.
Oh, I sat in the stands with my friend, Lisa.
Hey, Snails. Thank you.
I am so sick of all this. I don't know what I'm doing wasting my time with you people anyway.
That's 3.
No, that's 4. She stormed out of the last Sunbeams meeting, too. I don't need 2 Sunbeams. I'm in medical school.
No, it was more like, I'm in bed school. Yeah, that's you.
One of the rookies, girl, got busted in the paper with another dude. Hey, t-shirts, $20. Rookie girl caught in the paper with Trey Wiggs. Priceless!
What's your password?
I_hate_San_Diego.
Today, I'm going to be talking about Melanie and Derwin's relationship and why I think Melanie should have left Derwin season 1 before the cheating even began. And I'm going to give Melanie Barnett's mother her flowers. Mrs. Barnett, you were right. Let's get started. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you're returning, welcome back to Chats and Chill. Today, we're going to be talking about Melanie Barnett from the game and why I think she should have left Derwin season 1 before Drew Sidora was even thought about. Now, I'm rewatching this as a woman in her 30s. So I'm going to give them grace right off the bat. They were in their early 20s. Now, Melanie, she seems like a very sweet character. The show portrays her, again, with Tia Mowry, so we already have the implication that she's an innocent, naive person because we've been watching Tia since she was a kid. We automatically give her that credit of being sweet and adorable, and she absolutely is, especially in this role. You root for Melanie. Season 1, Melanie barely shows up with any makeup on. We often see her lounging or reading or studying. We often see her questioning things that are interesting from a moral place. So immediately, right off the bat, we recognize that Melanie is somewhat of a moral compass for Derwin, someone that keeps him grounded as he's continuing to enter this world and get deeper and deeper and deeper within it.
To see you standing there with the ball over your head, cameras flashing, and 50,000 people cheering for you. All of them finally seeing what I saw when I first met you. How great you are.
She's reminding him, this is not who you are. This is why we came here. This was always our plan, etc. And we see that throughout season 1. But what we also see in season 1, as they are both young and trying to figure it out, long before he meets Drew Sidora, we see Derwin pushing the boundaries of their relationship more and more and more. We also see his ego showing up more and more and more.
You asking me, you telling me. Dog, she's definitely telling you. Oh, I didn't realize I needed permission to have someone come over my own house.
Oh, you mean our own house, right?
You know, you should appreciate Dion trying to fix things.
Is it fixing things?
I keep telling you, I'm fine.
But you keep saying it with that mean face, which tells me you're not.
I gotta get to practice. Take care. I didn't call because just like you, I can do what I want. I'm a football player. I can't promise you clean underwear. I wanted to marry you because I love you. But you shut that down so you can focus on your career. But you know what? You think about you, and I'll think about me.
Drew Sidora? Is this my Drew Sidora? Oh, rookie. I thought that was over.
The only reason why Melanie doesn't know is because I can get all worked up over something that's not even a thing. You dig?
Let me call you back. Seriously, Mel, I don't want to share.
Whoa. Wow.
It's over.
Now, seasons 1 through 3, we always saw her with that desire to be a doctor. We saw her balancing herself, her life, her self-respect with Derwin and deciding when and where to compromise. But we always saw that internal struggle. We always saw Melanie grounded within herself. Even at times when she lost herself, she always came back. We always had those moments where someone would remind her to prioritize herself. That someone was usually either Dion or Tasha Mack. But Melanie had grounding people in her life, and she herself stayed returning to herself. Season 4, they flanderized the hell out of Melanie. Season 4 and beyond are almost unwatchable for me because her whole identity is Derwin. Now, we do see some crumbs of this throughout the earlier seasons. It almost feels like he validates her in some way. Not in the way that you may think, not fame, not money, not any of that. But throughout the show, it feels like Melanie's reason for chasing and holding on and clawing Derwin the way she does is simply so she doesn't have to admit to her parents that they were right. And it feels very much like in season 4, this woman built a house of cards on a foundation of simply avoiding telling her parents that they were right. She was willing to live the rest of her life miserable, or at least always competing for Derwin, or always prioritizing Derwin, or basically just being obsessed with Derwin and all things Derwin's world, rather than tell her parents, I jumped in, I wasn't ready, I made some bad decisions, I'd like to course correct now. That didn't mean not being with Derwin. It simply meant balancing your life back out. Season 4, her obsession is horrible. The reason I bring this up is because throughout the show, we see Melanie self-assured, standing up for herself in every setting. Even when she has to go back and say, hey, I'm sorry, I overstepped. She is so confident in herself. At one point in season 1, when Derwin refuses to go back to her home to celebrate Christmas with her family because he wants to be with his team, she goes anyway. I cannot imagine season 4 and up Melanie doing that at all. She goes home because that's what she wants to do. Whenever she realizes that she's moved to San Diego and she didn't really give herself any insurance or any kind of safety net, she doesn't have her own money. She isn't on Derwin's bank account. She's given up her school, Johns Hopkins, the medical school she was supposed to attend, where she was also a legacy. Her father attended that same medical school. We saw him later wearing a sweatshirt. So the show let us know that she was a legacy and she was supposed to get into Johns Hopkins. She gave up her career and her future for this man, and he didn't even propose to her. She wasn't married. She wasn't engaged. She also over leveraged herself. Again, Melanie didn't have a job or any money, yet she put the apartment they lived in her name, despite not having any money, because he had credit issues. So she put her credit on the line for him and trusted that he would pay for the apartment, keeping her credit intact. Meanwhile, he wouldn't even put her on bank accounts or even get a joint account with them so they could share funds. I'm not saying he wasn't giving her money, but he certainly wasn't sharing an account. Melanie made a horrible decision to just be with Derwin in that way. We also see throughout season 1, he reminds her several times at interesting times that is his apartment, not theirs, but his, with her name on it. That is his apartment and his money and his bank account. And at one point he even tells her, if you want to be with me, you're going to have to make another sacrifice. Now, something else he does, he will boss up in the moment and then he'll immediately regress. Trust and believe he said what he said. She also doesn't have a car because when she chose Derwin over Johns Hopkins, her parents took her car. Would never recommend that. On top of all that, when he gets mad at her, knowing that he's essentially her lifeline in this new city where she doesn't really know anyone and she knows no one outside of him and she doesn't really know anyone on her own, he goes completely silent on her. He's an avoidant. So a lot of times whenever they have issues, he will completely ghost her. That is extremely unhealthy. He won't talk to her for days on end. He also speaks to her in a certain way that irks my soul.
I'm seriously thinking about the trade. So I called your mom.
Where do you get off calling my mother?
I do vaguely remember some clown rolling up in my house and snatching your stuff. Come on, Mel, admit it. Because if Trey is paying for your tuition, the only way I see him doing that is if you let him hit it. No, just admit it. Be a woman up and admit it.
Thought I had you.
Yeah, Doc? Well, it's not my fault that your punk-ass boyfriend ran up on me. If he didn't, I wouldn't be in this position. So you loved it like you love banging Dr. Barris? That's how you do it.
I absolutely would never encourage someone to be with someone who speaks down to them. Melanie makes mistakes of her own. She goes out with Trey Wiggs knowing that it makes Derwin uncomfortable. And aside from it making him uncomfortable, this is his league rival. This is a rival for him. This is someone who he went to the same school as. He was always in Trey Wiggs' shadow. Trey Wiggs was friends with Melanie for years, and there was always chemistry there that made Derwin insecure. It doesn't help that Trey Wiggs was a hotshot in the same league that Derwin was barely getting his footing in. Were Trey and Melanie friends and should have been able to have that friendship? Sure, with boundaries, absolutely. Could Melanie have handled Derwin's insecurities about this friendship a lot better? Absolutely. Derwin put Melanie in a very isolated place, and Melanie felt like she was in control, which is why she wasn't alarmed at the red flags. Even when it came to the money, when the conversation came about regarding putting her name on bank accounts, I was shocked that was even a conversation that happened after they moved. The apartment is in your name. Your name should have been on the bank accounts for that alone. Being that you live with this person and they are responsible for all of your financial needs and you have no financial freedom from this person, you absolutely should have some form of control. Your name should absolutely be on the accounts and every financial decision should include you. That should have happened before you moved. There were multiple moments throughout the show where Melanie kind of sacrificed her self-respect, if there was any, and it just makes me cringe. For example, after the whole Trey Wiggs fallout situation, like I said, Derwin stops talking to her for days at a time, maybe even week or weeks. At what point do you just get the hint and go home? So much later, she does get the hint after she tries to surprise him by swinging on a pole for him, which I'm never going to limit someone's sexual freedom. You do what you want to do. But if you feel like you need to do something sexual, if you're only doing it to appease someone, don't do it. That's what Melanie was doing. She was just trying to appease him. The way she kept toggling back and forth from being apologetic to sexual really irritated me. Girl, this looks like he's forcing you, or you're just trying to become a fantasy for him and you completely shed your humanity. Like, it was just a little weird to see. Then you fast forward to her mom coming out as a good mom would and said, okay, we're not going to do this. You're going to move out. You're not going to stay where you're not wanted. Melanie completely took Derwin's side, which unfortunately that happens a lot. Her mom went out there and was like, okay, listen, we're going to get you out of this environment. He doesn't want you. He's not talking to you. Fine. You need to have your own place. You need to have your own car. You need to be independent of him.
And I'm not leaving you to this degrading life as an athlete's girlfriend. There's a stripper pole in your living room. He has made it clear he doesn't want you here.
He never said those exact words.
He never said stay either. Can't do that as long as you're dependent on him. If you won't come home, how about you let me set you up in an apartment?
Thanks for being your mom.
Oh, I love you.
I agreed with that 100%. In my opinion, Melanie should have left and did exactly that. When she saw that he had the capacity to completely shut her out, he absolutely flexed his security on her when he was upset with her. She only knows people through him. She is not on any of the accounts. Her whole life revolves around him and school. He has the only car. She doesn't even have her own car. And all of the friends that she has are through him. If I were her mom, I would have done the same damn thing. She went out and got Melanie. She wanted to go apartment shopping. She helped her pack up her apartment. She was going to get her a car. She said, you can stay with him and work this out with your little friend, which I love that. You can still work this out with your little friend, but you still need some independence. Why Melanie didn't take that, especially seeing how quick he was to flex against her, that she was vulnerable and he was not, is so crazy to me. But we also saw worst case scenario. So fast forward when he cheats on her with Drew. She is living at Tasha's, then she's living at Dion's. We see that she decides to work at a diner. We know that at one point she messed around with Trey Wiggs. Their friendship was ruined. He paid for her tuition, but then after that first semester, then what? She was completely vulnerable and basically being toggled between everybody in Derwin's world. And he was quick to throw that in her face. Whenever he was upset with her, he had no problem degrading her and putting her down. Now, we've already seen how her mother reacts when something like this happens. When she knew she was done with Derwin, why didn't she just have to hear a couple of I told you so's and move on? Living on the street, from house to house, riding the bus, girl, none of that can be as bad as just hearing your mom say, I told you so. And granted, in her defense, she did try to call her mom to go home, and Dion hung up the phone. But why didn't she just call her mom and say, hey, you've offered to give me an apartment in a place. I'm going to need it. I apologize for not listening to you. You were right. Let's do this. That had to be better than working at a nasty diner. Melanie made choices that never made sense for me, but definitely made sense for the entertainment of the show. But as a person, I'm like, okay, why work at a seedy diner? You're around all these rich people. Why not work at a nice restaurant? Why not work at a high-end restaurant as a waitress or a hostess and make way more money? But then you also get to wear real clothes and you don't have to smell like corned beef or brisket, whatever it was. We saw Melanie make decisions that were counterintuitive. At the beginning of the show, season 1, she was self-assured. She was standing up for herself. She was putting her foot down. She knew her worth. But then when you watch it back, not really. That was always my memory. But then when I watched it back, she wasn't self-assured. She was arrogant. I wanted to jump in here and explain this thought thoroughly. While Melanie often portrays herself with an air of superiority and she can often be arrogant or haughty, that is not the same thing as being confident in oneself. Research suggests that arrogance is often a mask for feelings of deep-seated inadequacy. And according to an article in Psychology Today, penned by Anita E. Kelly, PhD, there is evidence that acting superior is indeed a way of masking feelings of inadequacy. A developmental psychopathologist named Kristen Valentino, who conducts research on young children who have been neglected or experienced maltreatment, discovered a gap between the subject's stated confidence and implicit measures of their actual self-concepts. The upshot of this research is that maltreated or neglected children might say they are great, but through memory and mirror tasks, they uncover a sense of self that falls far short of their portrayed greatness. It's not a stretch to think that these insecurities might extend into adulthood. In short, arrogance, haughtiness, or portrayal of superiority, i.e., I'm better than this because I'm in medical school, might actually be a person masking their own inherent shortcomings. She was quite insecure. She was insecure season 1. She was very arrogant. She was kind of haughty. She also wielded being in medical school against the other women. Melanie is extremely male-centered, and I had no memory of her being like that. I just had a memory of her being in love with Derwin, but I had no memory of her being completely male-centered, and she was, which is why she used to irk Tasha. Now I see why Tasha was pinching her and Kelly, because she was like, get your shit together. Stop being obsessed with these men and do what works best for you. Take it from me, I know. She was right. And I see why she was irritated with them. Season 1, Melanie had a I'm not like the other girls attitude. The only reason she liked talking about being in med school is because she felt like it put her on a higher tier and it put the other women in their place. And while it is impressive to be in medical school, that's wonderful. That's just something about you and your future. That doesn't make you better inherently as a person. And it doesn't give you the right or the license to disrespect other people who may be on a different path or a different journey than you. How rude. She would even go to their Sunbeam meetings, their Sunbeam activities, their things, and then belittle and disrespect everybody and storm out. Eventually, they stopped caring and they just dismissed her, but that's extremely rude. She wasn't confident. She wasn't self-assured. She was insecure. And deep down, the things that they were warning her about were things that she personally felt insecure about, but they sounded too much like her mom. Melanie built an entire life on proving her parents wrong and only continued to prove them right. Then we get to season 3. We see that Melanie has allowed her self-esteem to completely wash away, and she is essentially just a product of the game. Insert woman here. She's no longer her vibrant, independent, focused on the future self. Her whole pick-meism is basically her character. They flanderized her. She decided to take Derwin back with a baby. Again, I would always advise somebody to not do that. Not just for the fact that you're always going to have compromises to make in your life, but it's not fair to the baby to be introduced into a world where one or more people is not 100% happy that they're there. Children deserve to be welcomed into a world where they are loved and cared for, and they are innocent beings. Being born into a relationship that does not want you, or where one person doesn't want you and that you need safety from, bad decision, father, to bring a woman into your child's life who feels any kind of way about your child outside of welcoming. I absolutely would have said, if you wanted to be with Derwin, give it a couple of years and then see if it still makes sense once he's gotten his footing as a father. But this is time he needs as a father. She took him back with a baby, complained the whole time. When he finally told her, hey, my baby is more important than you. Why she didn't leave then, I don't know. Not because the baby's more important than her, but because she openly admitted she was competing with the child. Why she didn't leave then, I don't know. And why he would take her back after she admitted that is crazy to me. I can understand having sympathy for her because of the position you put her in, but I would never allow someone in my child's life who made comments like that, ever. That's just me. Secondly, Derwin had a lot of reasons to not be with Melanie too. Maybe we'll do a separate video for that. They do get back together and he leaves her at the altar to go be with the baby as it's born. And then even when the baby is born, he's clearly walking on eggshells because Melanie wanted to be the first at something and she didn't even get to be the first at that. She wanted to be able to name her baby DJ. She wanted to be able to have all of those things for her and Derwin, but now they're sharing this with Derwin's ex-girlfriend, Janae. And even in this moment where Derwin should be around people who are celebrating the fact that he's becoming a father, regardless of the means, he's a father now and clearly excited about it. She's standing there crying, understandably. But again, he should have had that moment to be excited. But instead, he's standing behind her, uncomfortable and wincing. They were horrible for each other. He left his wedding. If that wasn't a sign that, girl, don't do it, I don't know what. If I were Melanie's guardian angel, I would be wringing her neck. I would be grabbing a chunk of that bald head at the back at the end of season 3 and flinging her all around. Me and Melanie would have been fighting because there's no way in hell I'm going to let you do this. What better sign do you need? The wind tried to blow your wedding away. The baby called your husband away. How many more signs do you need that this is not the right man for you? I think the whole thing started as proving something to her parents. Then eventually that evolved into proving something to the league and all the other women that she wasn't like them and their situation was better and it was more important or it was special. And then I think she just had something to prove to Janae. And her motivation always just seemed to be proving something to someone else. But we never really get an idea of what Melanie wants and who Melanie thinks she is. We can see Melanie as the insecure little girl trying to survive in this world, but not wanting anyone to know she's vulnerable while still not accepting help. But I wonder who Melanie thinks she is, because in my opinion, her self-respect is non-existent. That was evidenced by her relationship with Derwin, her relationship with Jerome, her situation with Trey. Like all of these encounters, the whole McHottie situation, all of these encounters just showed that Melanie was completely lost. And I don't think the show ever really gave Melanie an opportunity to find herself or create herself or present herself to the world in a way where she validated herself. She never quite got there. As a matter of fact, she regressed throughout the series where her whole life became more about Derwin and less about herself. Even in the grand finale, when she finally decides to return to Johns Hopkins and Derwin leaves to be with her, while that is wonderful, that's still not her choosing herself. That's still her proving something to Derwin. We never quite got that moment where it seemed like Melanie had it figured out for Melanie. She was always in this cycle of revolving around Derwin, apologizing to Derwin, proving something to Derwin, or trying to pretend that her and Derwin were fine. At no point was it ever about Melanie. Anyway, that was one of the most disappointing things about her character. I will always root for that character. I thought she was so sweet, and I love that she was portrayed by Tia Mowry. But overall, I hate that the show did her a huge disservice by never really giving her an opportunity to redeem herself for herself. We always see her at the mercy of someone or something else. The league, the other women, her boyfriend, then fiance, then husband, his ex, his baby. We always see Melanie responding to the circumstances around her. And even when she gained a little bit of independence in season 3, she's still responding to the world around her, but she's never quite entering the world self-assured and knowing who she is fully validated. I would have loved to see Melanie have a season or maybe even half a season on the game where she was not dependent on anyone else at all. Even her independent season, which was season 3, she was living with Dion. I would love to see her character have come into her own. In my opinion, that would have been so much better for her character. And if they did want her to circle back to Derwin, I would have loved for them to have had them do that when they were both on a high. It seemed like Derwin circled back to her when he was lonely. He and Janae had broken up and he was on his last leg. And it seemed like Melanie was his last resort. And it seemed like Melanie accepted him when she couldn't get anybody else. She'd been dealing with McHottie. She'd been dealing with Derwin. She said all that stuff when he proposed to her about, I'm doing so much better now. I'm on the dean's list, blah, blah, blah. But we didn't see any of that. I feel like the reception to it would have been so much better had we seen Melanie thriving for some time. Not only that, her immediate insecurities bubbling over when she saw that tiny ring, instead of her self-assured, fully validated Melanie saying, thank you so much, but this is not the ring I want. This is not the ring I want. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. I just feel like I'm worth more. I feel like this is low effort. I feel like I'm worth a lot more. I would have loved to have seen her handle things from a self-assured place and not be so insecure and basically tiptoeing through life just so she could be in his world. It's really cringy to watch. Now, again, Melanie represents a lot of people, and a lot of people can identify with all sides of Melanie, including some of the less attractive sides, and that is okay. But as a character, especially a character portrayed by Tia Mowry, I would have loved to see that character have a year or a season or half a season where she was truly running her own life. Unfortunately, we never got that. And when season 4 opened back up, Melanie was unrecognizable. She was this shrinking violet, this sheepish person who was just grasping at the hem of Derwin's garment. It was cringy. She didn't even fulfill her life's goal of becoming a doctor. I don't even know if that's what Melanie wanted. I'm not even sure Melanie wanted to be a doctor. I think she may have just wanted to do that because she knew it would impress her parents, because her dad was a doctor. I would have loved to have seen moments where we finally realized why Melanie wanted to be a doctor, when we got to see her walking in her passion, when we got to see her fully thriving in that reality and got to know her as a character a lot better. It would have been great to see her as a doctor. We saw her have moments in the hospital during her residency, but I would have loved to have seen Melanie as a doctor. It would have been great to see Melanie develop as a character outside of her relationship to Derwin. I understand the show is about the game, But a lot of the women who are married to pro athletes, they have their own careers and their own lives. And it would have been great to see Melanie have a couple of wins on her own. So those are my thoughts rewatching the game and watching their relationship play out. It was disgusting. Even with Trey Wiggs, I used to say Melanie should have chosen Trey Wiggs. No. Rewatching this has nothing to do with Chaz Shepard. I absolutely love Chaz Shepard. But Trey Wiggs, he was also the nice guy, just like Derwin, the guy who thinks he's a nice guy, but really he's an asshole and he avoids conflict. So he thinks he's nice because he's not confrontational. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Melanie should have left Derwin season 1 of the game. If they circle back, it should have been when she was fully independent and thriving, and he was independent and thriving, and they came back on a high. That's how I would have known it was real. Not grasping at one another like it was their last resort. They treated each other like a life raft. And ultimately, as we saw their marriage play out, it certainly seemed like that. So those are all my thoughts. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, share your thoughts in the comment section below, and feel free to subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.